Welcome to another edition of OnsideSA Soccer. Let's get straight into Budge. This last one, Stanley's got a week to go.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at the last week since we spoke. They dropped down from 26 to 11.
Yeah.
And then this week came along. And I think that's more pertinent because of where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
There's 6 left of the 11.
Yeah, 6, Paul, and a couple of guys. Newcastle squeaked through, and West Ham, one stage I thought they were going out. So 6 of the guys squeaked through, Paul, yeah.
Yeah, sure. It would have been... Newcastle were fortunate, I thought. I watched the game. You know, as West Ham were losing. By the time I'd kicked my TV in and gone to bed. So that...
2 late goals.
Okay, 6. Now the week 8, the 6 entries. Robbie Burns.
Yeah.
Greg Pesci. Paddy Loca. Phil Giorgio. Sean Matthew. And Mark Haddon.
Mark Haddon, the chemist. Or the... drug lord, as Harold Rankin calls him.
Yeah, the chemist there, sure. And the guy without a surname, the Greek, Phineas, Breaks, and I don't know Greg Pesci.
Yeah, I'm going to hopefully meet him tonight at Westfall, Paul, so have a drink with him, yeah.
All right, so they're the last ones going into the last week. Now, the teams that they can still be used, Arsenal, Chelsea, Leeds, Man City, and West Ham. One guy's got Man City. Yeah,
but the way their last couple of games, Paul, Vivian Woodley went out with him in midweek, player sent off, and remember the previous competition, somebody went out after round 11. I won't mention his name, but
you got to.
So you just no guarantees. Champions League final next week, Paul. So tough call.
Tough call. Okay, so those are teams that can be used. Right, let's get talking to our international pundit. Stevie B, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Has the rain stopped?
Well, for the moment. I think we've got another couple of days of it.
Fantastic. Lovely flowers in the garden.
Steve, you've got a busy show with you, obviously, because it's the last week. We're going to go through all the Premier League fixtures with you and the Championship. But we've got to ask you about Fulham's draw 1-1 with Man United on Tuesday. Happy with that result?
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the second half
played well.
Played some nice football, and actually, obviously had a really good opportunity in the first half with our young up and coming player Fabio Carvalho was put clean through. Probably should have done better. But the second half, I thought we thoroughly deserved a point out of it. Which when I looked at before kickoff, he'd made some changes. Scott Parker and United were put out on paper a very strong team, and especially after the Cavani goal, I was expecting another few to fly in, but in the end, and it just sums up our season. Away from home, we put in some very creditable performances, but that hasn't been enough to save us.
The big game, Steve, is obviously Chelsea beating Leicester City. From what I thought, when I watched it, I thought Chelsea totally in control by the last 10 minutes.
They were. They really, they could have had that game completely wrapped up. And in the end,
hanging on, Perez should have scored.
Amazing chance. He could have, that probably would have been against the run of play, but and would have changed the whole dynamic of the top four. But as it is, it puts Chelsea in the box seat now, and Leicester in a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Brighton 3, Man City 2. Yeah, I saw the guy Cancelo moaning about the red card, but it was definitely a red card.
Yeah, he brought him down, he was clean through, and City played, the fact that City played on them for the rest of the game with 10 men, and yet found themselves 2-0 up, but fair play to Brighton. They had nothing to lose, threw everybody out forward and got a win, and I think on paper beforehand, you'd have been very surprised at that. But it just makes you wonder. If you look at some of City's performances recently, they've just taken their eye off the ball. They've got, they've won the league. They've got the big prize now that they're looking at next Saturday.
Steve, on last night, the big game was obviously Liverpool beating Burnley 3-0. I watched a little bit of it, but once I saw Burnley play their third string goalkeeper, I knew there was only one result.
Well, you say that, but Burnley had some good chances. They only played quite well first half. Liverpool needed that goal from Bobby Firmino just to settle nerves. And the second half, they took control. Once they got the second goal, there was no question. But Chris Wood had a couple of chances in the first half, and that probably could have given Liverpool some nerves. But in the end, what was key as well for them is getting 3 goals. Their goal difference now is +4 better than Leicester. So that puts them in a very good position.
I don't see them not qualifying. Tottenham 1, Aston Villa 2. Paul, you obviously watched it.
I watched the game. Started Started brightly, a good goal, individual goal, and we were on top, but not for long. I really analysed every player in our team. Song couldn't hold the ball up, couldn't go past the player, never. And Harry Kane, only one player had less touches than him. Can you know that? It was the goalkeeper. Okay, they said half time, only one player had. Winks was absolutely rubbish. And Ruyon, whatever his name is, Regulon should not be there. An own goal because he hasn't got a right foot. From outside, beyond the penalty spot, he sticks it in the top corner. Then he gives it away, and we got both his mistakes. He couldn't pass from A to B. They tried the long ball early. The two centre-backs, it never worked. We were never really comfortable. We had 2 chances in the second half as it started. But Kane unsighted, Song unsighted, Winks unsighted. And you know what happened to, what's his name, Hoiberg gets booked. So every tackle he's doing this. Take him off. Bring on Sissoko, bring on someone. Because he knows he gets taken again, it's a red card. Winks and him are too defensive. And Lo Celso didn't play, but he's too lightweight. They brought Bale on. We looked like we had a little bit of ability with Bale on and with... the Ndombele. Ndombele was going past there, but otherwise, it could have been 5-1, 5-2.
That bad, huh?
Yeah. Now we got thumped, outplayed. Afterwards, Kane was the only one on the field clapping to all the supporters. That's a clear-cut sign that I think he's moving.
Okay.
Yeah, and look. I mean, I watched it, and after in the first 10 minutes, you thought, "Oh, this is going to be a bright Tottenham performance." But after that, Aston Villa had the next 10 chances in the first half. And as we say, could have had a hatful. And Tottenham just, for whatever reason, as you said, but they could not get going.
They didn't create chances.
There was just something completely lacking. Yeah, it was such an important game. Because, when you look at the fixtures, Tottenham could now very easily
run Nantes.
The European place.
We could run Nantes. Nantes. Leicester fighting for the top 4 spot. They beat us. We will run Nantes because Arsenal will win. And Everton, and it's just not acceptable. The booing at half-time, but you should have heard it. I wish the booing at half. At the end, the game was worse. They were just booing and booing and booing. You cannot have that.
I think that's just symptomatic of obviously fans are frustrated that potentially that Harry Kane will go, and also this is their first opportunity to be in the ground and directly make their feelings felt to Daniel Levy about everything. And I think, look, the whole Harry Kane situation, he's been very loyal to Tottenham. I guess there comes a point, he's the best striker, English striker in the Premier League, captain of his country. He wants to win silverware, and he probably looks at it now and thinks, I'm not going to win anything at Tottenham over the next few years.
They just they haven't got. They've got to play properly. You know, Steve. I know I'm labouring the point here, but they played through the middle, right through our midfield. Balls just played into Jack Grealish, into McGinn. The ball. They had so much time on the play. They were running through the middle, and there was another guy. I forget his name. A very good player in their middle who ran right into our box just about every time. Yeah. We had scramble saves. I've never seen it. And we tried to play forward. Dele Alli couldn't hold it up. Song couldn't hold it up. Kane wasn't getting it.
It was the best performance,
I mean, obviously, they have to bring a good manager in.
Yes.
Because at the moment, sadly, they look rudderless.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And it's a shame for them that unless results really go their way, they will fall out. And maybe having Europa League football, it might just give them the opportunity to not be overstretched next season a little bit. But I think I somehow, unless they can just somehow pull themselves together, I can't see them winning at Leicester. And then if that is the case, I think they will get overtaken.
Yeah, so do I.
Steve, final review on Roy Hodgson's final game in charge of Crystal Palace. I saw the introduction.
I think there was no question really that his contract wasn't going to get renewed, and I think it was good that he turned around and said, "Look, time's up for me."
Yes, turned around,
73 years old. He's done huge amount. I mean, obviously abroad before he came back to the UK, and those few years at Fulham, were our best in history, really, for what he did for us. So. And it's fitting. I mean, I watched him being interviewed. He said from 5 years old he stood at the terraces with his father to watch Crystal Palace play, and he's ended up sort of managing the team he supported all his life. So, He'll have a break. Whether or not he'll come back in some capacity at some point, he's got so much experience. You think it would be wasted for someone not to use him, but I can't. He's never going to come back. The rigours of a day-to-day
demands. Yeah. All right, Steve. Premiership final week on Sunday. Obviously, we're going to go through it with you, and we'll have the odds on the screen here.
Yeah.
Arsenal won their last 4 at home against Brighton. I like the manager, Graham Potter. If I'm a Spurs fan, I know they don't really want him, but I would take him as a manager. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, well, I think this could be. Arsenal know that somehow, that a few weeks ago, they wouldn't even be thinking of it.
Yeah.
Now they know that a win could conceivably get them a Europa League space. So I think they'll go for it. They've got some good young players. Brighton have got nothing to lose. They're safe. They are buoyed by that win against City. I think it should be an entertaining game. But I think Brighton, for as much as they play some good football and they are sort of better away, I think Arsenal, you'd hope to think that they would really throw everything at Brighton and win that, and because they can guarantee themselves a top 7.
Steve, Europa is top 6, eh?
Yeah, and there's a real...
It's 7. Because 4 Champions League, 3 the next
Europa
3
League.
Europa League. Has it always been 3 Europa League?
Yeah, always 7 teams. Yeah.
Oh well, then the destiny's not in their hands either way.
No, so they draw, they're gone. But
if they win, they have to win, and the top 6 have got 62 points already.
Yeah.
So Everton and Tottenham are both ahead of them. So if Everton or Tottenham win, Arsenal.
Yeah, essentially there's sort of 3 teams vying for one place, pretty much.
Yeah, correct.
Assuming that West Ham get a point at home to Southampton. So.
Okay. Paul, Aston Villa, Chelsea. You watched Villa last night. Any chance they can spring a surprise?
No. You know what I do like about them? Because that striker of theirs made our 2 centre-halves look woeful. Yeah. Jack Grealish played 70 minutes. He's always very comfortable. But the refs are getting onto him for diving a lot. A lot of times, but he does get fouled. They showed a couple of slow motions. They poleaxed him. He's a good player. McGinn's busy. And the centre half played well. The guy, the sort of curly
Mings or the other.
Yeah, Mings or something. He played well. So no, they've got a good side, but Chelsea are a very good side.
Steve, for you, any chance for an upset?
Well, I think the issue for Chelsea, if Chelsea would have guaranteed a top 4 place, they would have rested players because they've obviously got the Champions League final. They can't afford to because they can be overtaken. By Leicester and Liverpool.
Leicester and Liverpool, correct.
Thomas Tuchel has to play his strongest side.
He has to win.
He has to win because otherwise they can be overtaken by both. So I think that he will play his strongest team, and you'd expect them to be too strong for Villa. But it's been a crazy season. We've got fans in for the first time. Whether that makes any difference, there'll probably be 8,000 to 10,000 Villa fans in Villa Park. But I think I'd be surprised if Chelsea don't win and they basically consolidate.
They have to.
You never know the pressure. Steve, your Fulham boys against Newcastle. I watched Newcastle last night.
Not too good.
Not too good. They got 1 or 2 good players, Sid Maxim and Almiron Flatters.
So Maxim got injured.
But Fulham, you can't.
I think by the looks of it, looking at it,
goalkeeper pulled up lame.
They've got a few players out injured again, but they're safe and they can play. I'd love to think that we can at least finish on a high and finish with a home win because that's been our problem this year.
You could win.
Scott Parker obviously is going to chop and change a little bit. He's obviously got to have an eye on next season.
I see. He's not using Mitrovic.
No, well he said he was injured. So whether we see him again Sunday or we see him again in a Fulham shirt, there's a lot of debate at the moment. No one really seems to know what the problem has been this year. So the fact that you've got a player like Mitrovic who's was crucial for us, 26 goals last season, 3 goals this season.
How many this season?
3.
Sure.
Yeah. The service has been woeful, but his touch has eluded him, especially early on.
Something's not been right. Now next season, if he stays, we've got to play him. You can't have a player like Mitrovic not being your main centre forward, and you've got to play to his strengths. So I think all become a bit clearer as during the summer. But I don't think he'll start necessarily. But I think we've got to go for it. We've got nothing to lose now. We're down. Just throw caution
to the wind
and have a go.
Yeah, I think it'll be an open game. They've started experimenting.
Lead 6-10, Budge?
Lead 6-10 for me, best bet of the weekend.
Okay.
Of all the teams I've watched, Leeds have been the most impressive.
They
the
should
last
have been
few
behind
weeks.
against Southampton. Southampton could have been 2-3 up.
Yeah, just like what I see. You know, they're a point behind Arsenal. They've won their last few, really impressive. I think they're good things. West Brom, I watched them. They started off, they got a goal, early goal, but I like what I see Leeds. If he signs a few players, he's definitely a top 7 candidate, Leeds United. Steve, how do you see it?
They've been, as I say, I think they've been as a bit of a breath of fresh air the way they've played. Yeah. He doesn't change the way he plays, and they've been caught out. I mean, it's interesting. They've won 17 and lost 15, which is why they're doing so well. It's but they go for it and they're entertaining, and I think they will be too strong when they should win comfortably. I think in the end against West Brom.
All right, Paul, hopefully we can improve your mood. Can Tottenham get back to winning ways at Leicester?
Listen, they can beat anybody. You know, they beat Man City this year. They can beat anybody. They've thumped Man United. But the way they're playing, Leicester are fighting for they're both fighting their hardest in this situation. But I think a draw, but Leicester are definitely favourites.
Yeah. Tim, Steve?
Yeah, well, look, Leicester has to win.
Yeah.
Having said that,
So
they can still win and still finish 5th.
Yeah.
Because, if Liverpool win, Leicester have got to beat Tottenham with a goal difference of +4 more than Liverpool.
Yeah, I
can't
see
that happening at all.
Yeah.
So, on the other hand, Tottenham have got to win, because otherwise anything other than win, they probably will get caught by Arsenal. So, I think that should be an entertaining game. You just like to think, Harry Kane, it could be his last game. You think some of these players, should have look at their performance, as we said last night. They've got to go for it. I think there'll be a really good game.
Yeah.
I mean, Leicester have won the FA Cup. Which is in itself is fantastic for their fans, but obviously the powers that be at the club would really want them in the Champions League. So I think that's going to be a really good game, and that's one I'm definitely going to try and watch.
1-6 Liverpool?
1-6 Liverpool. It's in their hands. I know they got out of jail against West Brom. They've got to beat Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace were woeful against Arsenal.
Onside Benteke.
Selhurst Park earlier in the season, you'd expect them to, but Palace are a funny side. They pick up points at places you don't expect them to. Yeah. And I remember them a couple of times winning at Anfield on Steven Gerrard's
final game.
So, the way that, Liverpool know what they've got to do. They've got to win, basically.
Yeah, they've got to.
Any win will probably be enough, because Leicester are not going to make up 4 goals. So, in fact, if the results go for them, they could still finish third. I think that Liverpool should win.
If Palace beat Liverpool 2-0, then the difference is only 2.
No, well, Palace. If Palace and Liverpool and Leicester are tied on points.
Yeah, yes, but a goal difference.
Yeah, but if they draw and Leicester, I see you mean if
they get defeated. Okay.
Yeah. I doubt. I think Liverpool certainly.
Benteke has scored in his last 4 games.
Yeah, but Liverpool just have to match what Leicester do. So whatever Leicester do, Liverpool match it.
Yeah.
So or better it, and then I would be. Having sort of won their last 4, and especially I think with the dramatic way that they won at West Brom, I think that probably was the goal that has saved their season. Yeah. And as a result of that, they're in the position they're in, and I think Liverpool are clear favourites to finish in the top 4.
Okay. Steve, one team that are clear favourites are Man City. Now, next Saturday they're playing the Champions League final, obviously against Chelsea. Everton are scrapping for a Europa League place. They level on points with Tottenham. Can they cause an upset here?
No.
There's a possibility, because again, City got 1 or 2 injuries. They got Gundogan, Ilkay Gundogan, Kyle Walker, Karrion Knox, Raheem Sterling. I don't think he's going to want. They've won the league. They've got nothing to prove. I don't think he wants to endanger. So someone like Kevin De Bruyne, had an injury recently. I think he might rest a few.
They'll still be too good.
As a result of that, it gives Everton a bit of a chance. If City needed a point to win the league, that would be different. But they've got nothing to prove now. So I think that Pep will definitely want to rest a few, save those players for the Champions League final.
I agree. I think he'll play his. I think he'll start a good team and I think he'll take De Bruyne off. I think this is Aguero's last match. The more they're likely to make him.
Although he's carrying a bit of a knock, so I'm not sure he's
still too strong.
Yeah. Well, 3-10 is no great shakes, but I'd just be wary putting them in my multiples. Now, the next game, I don't know what to suggest. I was all over Burnley yesterday until I saw Nick Pope not in goals. Sheffield United are woeful. But I tell you, since they've got the young guy up front,
United
they played well the last couple of games. Can you see
won.
them winning their last game before they get relegated?
Well, look, they'd obviously want to try and go on a high. Scoring goals has been their problem, and Burnley generally have got a solid defence. Obviously, they've come unstuck in the last couple of games. And away from home, it's interesting, Burnley haven't won in their last 11 home games.
Yeah, they won the last 2 away.
That have saved them. So, again, it's hard to call. You just think that, I just feel that Burnley will be too strong.
Game I won't watch.
Sheffield United, they'll huff and puff, but I think they'll struggle to get through that Burnley defence.
Yeah, I agree too, but I'd put them all my bets yesterday, but hopefully Pope starts, but if he doesn't,
West
I'll
Ham,
be
Southampton
panicking. Now, West Ham, Southampton should be a cracker.
It should be a great game.
It should be a high-scoring game.
Yeah,
I watched West Ham last night, 1-0 down, but they were in control, but they were going for it. Declan Rice returned to form. I think this would be a good game.
This would be a good game. Let's just let him get a goal.
Yeah, Danny Ings reports he's going to Old Trafford. We're not after Harry Kane, we're after Danny Ings. So they say. You never know with the prep. But
he's done well.
I'm not sure that if there was a choice, if United could prize Harry Kane away, I think they'd rather have him than Danny Ings.
Guaranteed.
But Ings has done himself no harm this season. He's been out injured a bit, but still scored a handful of goals. Got himself in the England, on the fringe of the England setup. Look, West Ham know they need a point. A point guarantees them European football for the first time in many years. I think it'll be a good game. Southampton have got nothing to lose. Again, they're often better away from home. But I just think that West Ham will be too strong. And the way they dominated.
Steve, do West Ham don't need a point.
But if they get beat, Tottenham could go above them.
But they're still top 7.
Yeah.
They put it this way. I'm looking at the log, Steve. They don't need it. If they get beat, they stay on 62 points and say plus 10. They're on plus 12 now. Tottenham can go to 62 plus 22 probably because they're leading next round to win. They go above them. Everton are plus 4. 3 points behind. Can't happen.
You're right. But I don't think that West Ham are going to take their foot off the pedal.
I agree with you. They're
going to want to get
they're guaranteed Europe.
I mean, they could finish even just if the results. They could finish just 1 point off a top 4 place. It shows how well they've done this season.
Correct.
Results go their way. So I think they'll want to finish on a high. There will be fans, probably 10,000 fans in the stadium. I think they're going to want to put on a bit of a show for them. Declan Rice is back, so I think I will be very surprised if it's anything other than a West Ham win.
They aren't getting beat.
It's an entertaining game.
Now the last game we've got on the screen is Wolves-Man United. That was a betting yesterday at 4 o'clock. I don't know how they got that betting because Man United are guaranteed to play the squad players. I had a look this morning. The betting's changed. It was 18-10 Wolves and 14-10 Man United. So the betting
because United. It's very interesting that the way they did it. He put out a very strong side against Fulham, but actually they didn't really fire, did they?
No, they weren't too good.
I think now because the Europa final is only on Wednesday and the match is on Sunday. You couldn't. They're guaranteed second place. Why would you risk, Pogba, Fernandes? Why would you risk any of these players? So I would think that he'll play, his, and they've still got a decent squad. I think he'll play a team.
He'll play Van der Beek, Matic, Mata. We've still got enough players, but play the kids.
Some of them, it could be their last game. So I think he'll play. It doesn't mean that Wolves are going to roll them over because Wolves have been very inconsistent.
They're not too good themselves.
But I think because of that, it could be a 1-2-3 game. But I think whatever team United put out, they could, unless he really plays kids, I think that they could probably do enough to at least hold Wolves.
Okay, so you fancy the draw? It's still at 28-10. Steve, we'll end up with the championship. Watch the first round. Bournemouth beat Brentford 1-0, and Barnsley lost 1-0 to Swansea City. How do you see the Brentford and Bournemouth game going? Saturday, like 1 o'clock our time.
Saturday. Bournemouth played well, but Brentford missed some chances. Brentford would probably be disappointed that they came away losing. They did that last year. They lost at Swansea, but they were too strong at home. I think Brentford will win. I think it's the sort of game they could win by a goal, and it could go to extra time and even penalties. So,
do away goals count?
No, they don't. No. There's no away goals. It would go straight to extra time and then penalties. So I fancied Brentford to win by 1, and then it's anything can happen.
Yeah, what's the first game when both teams to score? How Brentford never scored. The guy up front, the BM boy, whatever his name is, geez, how we missed that chance. I was puking. Yeah. Now the other game.
Well, I thought Swansea played very well. I mean, Barnsley, Barnsley just threw everything at them and had a go. But Swansea, they did what they need to do. They're good away from home. Yeah. I think with that goal advantage,
very good goal.
I think that they'll be too. I think that, especially if they score first, I think Barnsley will throw everything at them, but Swansea, the sort of team, will catch them on the break. So I fancy Swansea to win that and to go through to the final.
Well, hopefully, Paul and I backed them to get to the Premiership at 9-2. We had a few rand on them, so hopefully you're right. Steve, as we end as normal, your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Championship games. I'm going to go for my best bet. I think Brentford will win.
Yeah, I'm with you on
ahead
that.
90 minutes, and I think Swansea. I don't make Barnsley favourites personally.
Yeah,
I think Swansea know what they've got to do, and I think they'll be too strong.
Okay, Stevie, as usual,
thanks very much, Steve. Enjoy the weekend.
Stay safe, and no reaction to your jab?
No, I've been fine, thank you.
Are you going to the game on Sunday?
Actually, my son's going. He's got my ticket. I thought, you know what, I'll let him go and he can enjoy it. I mean, to me, it'll feel like going to a wake. And
you want to follow Spurs and Fulham. You're right.
I'm looking forward to. I've renewed for next season, so I'm looking forward. Hopefully, no restrictions come August, and hopefully see us win a few games because that. And luckily, I guess in some ways I didn't go this year. To have seen us only win 2 at home would have been pretty disappointing.
Stevie, you know what they say with the difference between an Irish wake and an Irish wedding? One person. Totally different. All right, Stevie, stay well.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cheers.
See you next week.
Okay,
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
PSL midweek results, but talk to me. Now, Barocca TTM is a lot of 0-0s again. 3 0-0s out of 5 games. Swallows, they always draw. Stellenbosch. Chipper lost at home to Bloem.
1-0 up, Paul. But disappointing. I thought they'd get a result there, but Bloem Celtic scored a couple late and they're in trouble.
Arrows put it together and then beat Galaxy.
TS Galaxy,
In Cape Town, Maritzburg, no goals.
And the player sent off Maritzburg. Good result for them.
Oh, okay. So let's just have a look at the standings. How many games do they play? 32?
30 games.
30 games. So it's over.
Well, almost, Paul, but except for the
yes,
bottom.
of course. They're 26, 27. 30 games. Okay, got you. The league's won.
Yeah. Well, almost. I don't think it... Mathematically,
it's not.
No, but it's...
Mathematically, they can go to 59 Amazulu.
Yeah.
And they can go, well up.
No, well above,
69. Okay, Golden Arrows in third. Sure, they can mathematically. They can go to 52. Amazulu got 3 games, 50 points.
Amazulu finished second.
The bottom.
Season.
Tell me about the bottom. All over?
Yeah, it looks like Black Leopards are gone, Paul. They do have a game in hand, but I just don't see them getting out of it.
And then who's going to be in the playoffs?
Well, it's Chipper, Paul. I thought, they've had a good run late. They got beaten in the cup final, but they don't concede goals, so I think they'd sneak out of it. My worry is Stellenbosch. They don't score. They drew 0-0 with Swallows. I like Steve Barker. I like the way teams play, but they don't score. I think they're the danger team to get sucked in.
So Black Leopards will go, and one of Stellenbosch and Chipper will be in the playoffs.
The playoffs.
Okay, let's have a look at the CAF quarterfinals.
Paul. Sadly, it's not on. I don't know who's got the... who's got the game. And there's no betting out. The betting reportedly only going to come out on Friday. Now, Mamelodi Sundowns went to Al Ahly. That's Pitso Mosamani's team, and they lost 2-0. Reportedly, they played well, but I don't see them getting a result, Paul. I hope they do.
Al Ahly are a good team.
Al Ahly are a good team, Paul. Pitso obviously knows the players. It'll be a tight game. I'm hoping Sundowns, Paul, but I think it draws a massive player there. Chiefs won 4-0 at home. Couldn't believe it. Great result. They beat Simba, a Tanzanian team. Simba don't get beat at home, Paul. But, Chiefs go and park the bus early. As long as they can just don't concede anything early, I think they'll get through, Paul. Yeah. But, I fancy Simba. The betting comes out. I think Simba will win the game.
Okay, and how about Roger Casablanca and Orlando Pirates?
Yeah, they drew 1-1 in Orlando last week, Paul, so they don't get beat in Morocco. So, got to be Roger Casablanca for me.
Okay, Butch, well, it's good soccer all round, especially the highlights of those Premier League matches and the Championship playoffs. Right.
Well, yeah, we'll go on to the bets. You know, the
soccer pools.
The soccer pools will come a little bit later on. They haven't been sent through.
Oh, they haven't been sent through.
You know, I'll go through the Budgies bets for the weekend.
So, Budge, if anyone wanted to know your picks for the soccer,
Paul, they will be on we'll put them on the site. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now let's go to your bets, Budge. This is what I always look for. A good winning one last week. You were on song.
Should have got one other, Paul. I can't believe Everton never scored. But anyway, what can we do?
Okay, let's have a look here now. This is your quad. All these teams.
Paul, I went Burnley to beat Sheffield United. I just hope Nick Pope plays, because without him in goal, that bet's questionable. I think Chelsea will beat Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And I'm chancing Everton to avoid defeat against Man City. And I don't see Wolves losing to Man United's second team, Paul.
Ooh, okay, fair
Win
enough.
and draw, you know,
Fair
it was
enough.
a decent price, 3,500 to 200.
Okay.
Over 2.5 goals, because I'm hoping it's open gates. Teams start having a go. I think over 2.5 goals in the Aston Villa-Chelsea game. Leeds, West Brom, Man City, Everton, West Ham, Southampton, and Swansea, Barnsley. Paul, Barnsley have a goal. Watch the game.
You think that'll be more than 2.5? That to me could
Paul,
be a
I watched
stumbling
Barnsley. Obviously, we went for them last week.
If Swansea go one up, they're going to
Barnsley just have a go, Paul. I've watched them a couple of times.
Okay.
Valerian Ismail, their coach, he just plays one way and they're coming.
Okay.
So I think there has to be
You've done a good job
goals.
there.
Brilliant job.
Okay, next up.
Yeah, the second page, Paul, we've got the team. I've gone Burnley against Sheffield United, Leeds United against West Brom, Newcastle against Fulham, and Brentford against Bournemouth, all to score over 1.5 goals.
That's
or
a nice bet.
a minimum of 2, 2,800 to 200.
Burnley.
Both teams to score. I'm going Fulham, Newcastle, Leicester, Tottenham, Man City, Everton, West Ham, Southampton, and Swansea, Barnsley. I think there's got to be goals there, Paul. 3,200 to 200. Yeah, it's the last weekend of the Spanish League. So I'm going Granada to beat Getafe, Huesca to beat Valencia in a relegation match. I'm going Real Madrid to beat Villarreal by more than 1 goal. 11-10, Paul. Villarreal play Man United on Wednesday, and you know they're not going to play any of their main players. Yeah. And I'm going over 2.5 goals on the Sunday clash between Sevilla and Alaves, 2,600 to 200.
So the Collis King?
Collis King, 6 or Nixer, I think. Chelsea will be too good for Aston Villa. I think Leeds will beat West Brom. I'm signing with Brentford to outclass Bournemouth. I'm going with Borussia Dortmund, who've won the last 5, to beat Bayer Leverkusen at home. And I'm hoping Atletico Madrid win the league. If they beat Real Valladolid away from home, they win La Liga. Because I think Real Madrid will be too good for Villarreal. 2,100 to 200.
Very, very good, bud. Sure. Okay, at least the kitty's building, but the question now goes back to last one standing. So they all picked at Sunday 5
Well, a couple of guys have sent me their selections already. So some interesting. But
6 left.
6 left, Paul. They've done great. And I said hopefully meet Greg Pesci tonight for a pint at Westville. And Mark Haddon will be there as well.
It's your Westville boy.
He lives in Westville, so I'm going to have a pint with him, Mark Bowman, and Andrew Jackson, who was one of our previous winners.
They all live up that way?
They all live up that way.
In Westville, where would you meet?
Well, they go to Westville Old Boys.
Oh, yes, of course.
Soccer club there. So.
Where I used to go?
Yeah, that's right, we used to coach.
Okay.
Harold Rankin and Co., he'll be there, H.
Yes, you got a squad going, eh?
Yep.
Good man, good man. Well, Budge, that's all for this week. It's getting very tight. We'll see it all this weekend, and next week we'll value. And early in June is the.
Paul, it's the American League started, so we're doing the American MLS and obviously the Swedish. The
Euros
start. Euros. That's I think it's middle of June.
Middle of June.
So we'll have all the fixtures
all right.
ahead of that.
Until next time, stay on side.